Julie, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are going to wait for some more relatives to log on. So, again, thank you for being here. Please feel free to grab some water, a cup of tea or coffee, and get settled in with us today.
Thank you, everybody. Tansei, it's good to be here. I'm coming to you from Treaty 6 territories in so-called Alberta, Canada. I am from the Michelle First Nation. And as Daisy said, I specialize in telling Indigenous stories nationally and internationally. It is an honor and a privilege to be here today to moderate this conversation with Cultural Survival and Ricochet Media, who I do freelance work for, an independent publication in Canada. And I just want to say welcome to everybody in attendance and thank you to the panelists that are joining us today. So the criminalization of Indigenous land defenders is nothing new. This has been going on since colonization. And the majority of the work that I do as a journalist revolves around the criminalization of our people. I've been reporting on the crisis that has been happening in so-called northern British Columbia regarding the Wet'suwet'en hereditary people who are fighting a natural gas pipeline being constructed on their unceded territories, which has seen militarized police forcibly remove the Wet'suwet'en and their supporters from their territories while defending their lands. They have allies such as the Gitxsan, which are neighboring to the Wet'suwet'en, and the Gitxsan, have ancient pacts with the Wet'suwet'en, and the Gitxsan now also, are being targeted for standing in solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en and for asserting their rights, their sovereignty over their territories. And we know that the criminalization of our people involving corporations that are now giving the power to prosecute Indigenous land defenders or lawyers that represent them is very alarming. And that's what we're here to discuss today, as well as the other territories where, in Nepal and in Guatemala, where Indigenous land defenders are being targeted. So it's my pleasure to introduce our panelists today, and I'm going to start with Chief Spoke. Now, he is a Gitxsan hereditary chief, and based out of so-called northern British Columbia. Chief Spoke was arrested in 2020, along with over a dozen other land defenders at a railway blockade the Gitxsan set up on their traditional territories in support of the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs that were opposing the Coastal GasLink pipeline. And so CN Railway had obtained an injunction to remove the land defenders. However, civil charges laid against the land defenders were later dropped. In late 2021, lawyers for the British Columbia Prosecution Service advised a judge that there was no public interest in pursuing criminal contempt charges against 3 of the land defenders. One of them included Chief Spoke. And I am also introducing our 5th panelist. We have Dr. Lau Rapucha, who's joining us all the way from Nepal. He holds a PhD from the School of Languages, Literature, and Cultural Studies Center for Linguistics and English, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. And he has also worked as Chief Research Officer at the National Foundation for Development of Indigenous Nationalities, the Ministry of Local Development, Government of Nepal, and he is the founder director of the Research Institute for Keratology in Kathmandu. And he's been writing about his endangered mother tongue and he's an advisor to the Sunawar Welfare Society, an organization involved in the battle against hydroelectric dams on the Likhu River. So welcome, Dr. Lau. Thank you for being here. Please share what is happening in your territories there with the hydroelectric dams and the criminalization of Indigenous land defenders.
Thank you, Brandy, and the Cultural Survivor team, and all our panelists. Yeah, I will focus on three main questions that sent to us. There's how this industry and authorities hold or wield so much power. In this, what I quite frequently stress that theoretically, the rulers of colonizers are driven by the Darwinian theory, and they believe in theory and practice that survival of the fittest and for the fittest. But we indigenous people and the indigenism believes that it's survival for all. Due to their belief and practice, the state or the rulers or colonizers state has become vampire rather than welfare state. So due to this vampire state, in recent public hearing, we know that 400,362 square meter land has already been damaged and grabbed by the private company and the government. And due to this damage, we indigenous people, Kaatich or Sunwar indigenous people and other indigenous people like Tamang and other groups, we have a lot of damage and loss there. And number one, we have Ning fish species, that aquatic life is totally damaged, that's gone. And honeybees, totally gone. And cemeteries of our ancestors whom we worship is also gone, damaged. And environmental harmony is lost due to air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, and flooding and soil erosion. And number five, socio-cultural harmony also is gone due to the inter-indigenous or caste groups conflict there in this area. And ecology of peace also is totally disturbed, biodiversity gone, pasture land gone. And number nine, violation of right to information is also not respected because they haven't informed us FPIC, like pre and prior informed consent, in their own mother tongue and other related issues. And this is only Likhu 1 and 2 and A. Now 9 other private projects are coming in the same river. So when all these 12 or dozen of projects go in full, indigenous people will have very bad consequences and effect. And regarding compensation, though they have a lure of corporate social responsibility budget, it's mentioned in their EIA report, but it's not equally and fairly distributed as promised in their written document. And very minimal and nominal pennies have been offered to the affected people. And when they ask for that, they abuse and misbehave the indigenous people in those land territories of the projects. And For example, Dumbarquains, Sunwar and his family members were called off by district administration office. We call it here CDO, and they were harassed and they were in a way criminalized in this case while asking for their land rights. And 23 other families also are in danger of displacement from the area. And this is public. When we had public hearing recently, and the projects are not completed yet. It's around 70 to 80%. And when other projects also run, the situation will be very, very painful and dangerous for the indigenous ones in the project areas. Thank you.
I'm going to go to Dr. Lau. So there's been about 70% of this project, this hydroelectric dam done on the river there, and pollution of the water and the air and the land. And you said that it's caused complete devastation. How are the people coping? Because we know as Indigenous people, we are intrinsically connected to our lands. If our lands are destroyed, so are we. How are they surviving right now, mentally, physically, spiritually?
Yeah, our people and we people are facing a very, very bad situation and devastating one there. And in most of the cases, these people are losing their homelands, houses day by day, piece by piece, and inch by inch. As I told you, this is the only beginning of 3 projects, Lihu 1, Lihu 2, and Lihu A. But although there are other companies holding 9 more licenses in the same river. So when all these licenses start the real field work in the river area, we will have other horrible days. And most of the people, most of the people there now facing very dangerous situation of livelihood there. As I told, 9 damages, V4 also. We are in the position of, we are in the grasp of tricksters, These vampires overnight are just looking or desiring for money, money, and money. And here it's very helpful to quote Mahatma Gandhi, that the Mother Earth has given us what you need, but not every man's desire. So their desire and their greed, out of this greed, we people there living for centuries and ages very peacefully, now they have blasting noises and the houses have developed cracks, and the road extensions and track opening with their dozer, we call it kind of dozer development in our hilly areas and Himalayan regions of the country. So we have a very panicking and painful situation undergoing there, and lots of damages, as I told, this Ning fish aquatic life, because it's related to our cultural and ritual life, and we need that fish, and that fish now is instinct.
Wow.
And people gradually will be shifting to other places perhaps, and most of them in the past were sold to the British Empire, the colonizer, and most of them have given up the land in pennies and are leaving the homeland.
Wow. I would love to pose a question to everybody and just give you the opportunity to converse before we go into a Q&A from our audiences. So I'm going to do a 2-in-1, and you're welcome to answer. Put your hand up if you'd like to answer. So are you comforted knowing that you're not alone in this battle? And what advice would you give to other land defenders on the front line? So given today, bringing us together from around the world, the commonalities that we're seeing, do you feel comfort knowing that there are allies out there? And what advice would you give, Dr. Lau?
Yeah, we are not alone on this Mother Earth. There are indigenous people all over the world or corners of this planet, Mother Earth, and we are the keepers of the Earth, okay? And there are people like now Elon Musk who want to colonize Mars and just migrate from this Mother Earth to Mars. So it's a kind of a nightmare for us. And due to this, they are going to destroy each and every corner of this planet and exploit the Mother Earth only to fulfill their greed and desires unnecessarily. And we need to unite. United we stand, divided we fall. And these ruler groups or colonizers are the ones who know how to divide these indigenous people and rule them and crush them. So we are not alone. We need to unite each other. We need to let our situations in each and every corners of this mother planet, what's going on, and we need to work together. We need to unite together to fight these colonizer vampires.
Dr. Lau?
Yeah, in most of the cases, indigenous people are not decisive role. So they are the ones to address this climate crisis and climate emergency. They know the real locality and their corners where they are, and they can be the most useful people to save our mother planet. So the policymakers and lawmakers should always include the indigenous people to go hand in hand in this case. And as CP spoke, suggested that social media's role, and in our part of the world, we have less social media, and it's emerging these days, and we have less internet access. So we are keeping our Mother Earth's condition very safe, but very quickly these mainstream or the rulers group or the policymakers group or the money makers group are invading these safe areas very soon. So in this regard, for the case of development issues and all that, indigenous people should be part, okay? in that project or policy making or law making or whatever work. They are blaming us. These indigenous people don't want development. They want to live in cave life, back in the caves. So they are blaming us. They are blaming indigenous people in each corners of our Mother Earth. So in this regard, they should understand of this global warming and climate crisis and emergency. And we can do a lot. So they should include us in this development effort, and they should not go only for fulfilling their greeds and desires and over exploiting the Mother Earth.
Dr. Lau, some closing remarks.
Yeah, I am really honored and thankful to you all. And we are in this country, okay, a sort of stateless people. We don't have any state, and we don't have any people to hear our painful situations, to share and to talk with. So on behalf of my people and many other around 100, it is known as 125 indigenous peoples in this country, on behalf of them. So I'm really happy to share our painful situation here. In this country, no one listens us, but I'm really honored to let you know and hear about our situations in this country. So all our indigenous nations, brothers and sisters from Guatemala and Canada, even America, and many other countries are participants, perhaps around 200 means around almost all indigenous nations from all corners of the world, of this Mother Earth, Mother Planet. I have heard our voices, because we are always unheard, and we are always suppressed. We are really voiceless in this country. And I hope all indigenous nations all over the world will just express their solidarity with each other in this pain. And this is the time to save our Mother Earth. Saving our Mother Earth means to save ourselves. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. It's such an honor to know you, Dr. Lal. I'm so grateful to be connected, and I want to stay connected with you. Also, I'm just inspired. I'm moved. I'm heartbroken by the conversations we've had today. Again, I agree. We know that this is the most important battle of the ages that we live in, because the future of all is at stake. And our people, indigenous nations, are on the front lines of this battle. But ultimately, this is something that affects all of humanity. It is about the health of our planet and the future of our generations to come. And ultimately, these violations to rights, human rights, indigenous rights, land rights could be coming to you. Just because it's happening, in these territories that are far removed, this is indicative of what soon could happen to you. And your lands and waters, could be completely destroyed. So I encourage everybody to educate themselves about what's going on, and to really wake up and get involved, and stand by the people that are affected by these atrocities, by the criminalization of human beings, just for protecting their very survival, their very rights to live and sustain themselves off the territories of which they come. I want to thank Cultural Survival. They came on board when I approached them to do this panel, and they've done an incredible job. I want to thank Ricochet Media and Ethan Cox, my editor there, for supporting all of my work. And again, hi to all of the panelists. I think this was an incredible discussion, and I look forward to doing this again in the future. I'm going to hand it back over to Daisy. Hi.
Yawanko, thank you so much to all the panelists for your wisdom and your expertise and your resilience and bringing that here today and allowing us to dive deep into this really important discussion. Yawanko, Brandy, and Ricochet Media for helping us co-host this event, and we look forward to continuing this discussion. This doesn't stop here. Thank you all to the attendees for joining us for these past 2 hours, and just asking all of our followers here to continue to follow our work on social media, Cultural Survival, as well as Ricochet Media and Brandy's coverage as well. So again, Yawanko, thank you so much. I hope you all have an amazing week. Yawa.
Hi. Thank you.